Bonjour à tous. Je suis Korengold, CMO du Smart AdServer. Je me demandais à faisant ma valise, c'est les chaussettes du l'archi du sèche, sont-elles sèches ou archi sèches? As you can see, thank you. I should just leave. As you can see, my French is not very good. And so if you do not mind, I'm going to speak to you in English today. And so let me start, there we go. So let me start by asking the publishers in the room a very simple question. Do you know how many hands are in your pockets? So Donald Trump was right. The system's rigged. It's not fair. But it's not the system of the American elections that's not fair. It's the ad technology landscape. The digital revolution has been great for media consumers, but for publishers, not so much. We all know that publishers misjudged the digital revolution of the 90s by making their content free. And it took most of them nearly 2 decades to realize that they needed paywalls or ad revenue to remain solvent. But by that time, consumers were already conditioned that all content was going to be free. Unfortunately, I see a variation of the same theme happening again right now with programmatic. In the current environment, it's nearly impossible for anybody who isn't Facebook or Google to make money. In the classic model, a publisher created an audience, either one with as wide a reach as possible, like Time magazine, or with a dedicated niche audience, like Runner's World. And those publishers had 2 sources of income, advertising and subscriptions. However, as I mentioned, the web fostered an environment where everybody was conditioned for free content. And this led to a strong focus on ad revenue. But because there's an endless supply of ad inventory, prices never caught up with print. And that left publishers in a bind. Programmatic has only added to this because so many third parties are reselling the inventory. So a banner on Runner's World magazine would be sold via RTB in an auction model, and Runner's World would be competing on price with all other running blogs and small niche publishers, even if its own content is vastly superior and more expensive to produce. So what did they do? Publications sought to keep up by increasing their overall reach, which led to the phenomenon of listicles and jumping on every piece of viral news. As a result, publishers brought down the quality and the value of their own content, unintentionally leveling the playing field with small niche pubs and blogs. They're also at the mercy of ad tech companies. I don't think that's the right slide, but okay. They're also at the mercy of ad tech companies. The Guardian, for example, recently revealed that it receives only 30% of the programmatic ad spend on its content. The rest goes to ad tech firms. How do they know this? They bought their own media on their site, and they compared the difference to what they received programmatically to what they were selling it for. To add to the frustration, most publishers have no idea where the money even goes, because ad tech firms provide so little transparency. The fact that so much of ad tech is plagued by low viewability and ad fraud only adds fuel to the fire. And this has gotten worse since programmatic went from being a mechanism for selling remnant inventory to selling all of your inventory. This year, eMarketer says that more than 2/3 of ad revenue in the US is going to be sold programmatically, and that's only going to keep rising. In short, publishers are getting screwed by the lack of transparency in the programmatic ecosystem, and it's only getting worse. Publishers saw early on that a storm was coming, and they recognized that there was a need to do something. But what they did was completely misguided. They tried to protect their remnant revenue without realizing the rise of programmatic was going to impact their premium inventory as well. They saw a long-term threat as a short-term problem. More recently, The Guardian, CNN, the Financial Times, and The Week formed the Pangea Alliance. And that didn't work because partially there was no unique selling proposition. And additionally, when you pool newspapers, there's no differentiation. There's just a pool of news. We also saw this with a company called Quadrant One, a network made up of the New York Times, the Tribune, and Gannett. And it failed for the same reason. To make matters worse, Facebook is throwing its weight around with instant articles, robbing publishers of their own publishing platforms. Taken to a natural end, the vision of instant articles is that publishers will merely provide content to Facebook. And this puts Facebook in a position where it can make or break publishers at a whim. Just a few weeks ago, we saw similar negotiations with Snapchat and their content providers. Snapchat wants to take full control over ad sales and monetization. So what can publishers do? They can demand transparency. Why are you working with partners blindly? Why are you willfully giving away valuable business insight and giving away your revenue? This has to stop. It can stop. And publishers can stop it because we've already seen it work. Ari Blumen from Group M demanded 100% transparency, or Group M would not buy inventory from a publisher. Ari said that an ad that isn't seen isn't worth less. It's worth zero. Group M agencies are very clear on this. There's only one way they buy: 100% transparency. Then American Express said the same thing. They said that the Media Ratings Council viewability standards were subpar. And my friend Rachel supported what Ari had said. They have a zero-tolerance policy, and they're working through what's possible with a zero-tolerance policy. They expect their publishing partners to be on the same page with them in terms of rigorous ad monitoring and quality. So what happens? Condé Nast agreed. All, not part, of their ads are going to be seen by humans. So did Time Magazine. They revamped their entire site so that every single impression was viewable. And why? Because viewable impressions are more valuable. They allow publishers to raise their CPMs for the first time in years. What else happened? AppNexus reduced the number of their transactions by 65%. And what happened to AppNexus when they did that? They made more money. Their CPMs went from 20 cents to $1.60. So advertisers demanded viewability, and publishers agreed to it rather than get shut out. And so there's no reason why publishers can't demand the same thing of their ad tech partners. Cleaning up your inventory and getting higher viewability and more transparency is good for the industry. And that's what we do at Smart. We make more money when you make more money. We're not trying to get away. Sorry. Transparency between advertisers and publishers, buyers and sellers, is a good thing. And it's a good thing between publishers and their ad tech partners, too. Arbitrage is a sign of inefficiency in the marketplace, and transparency is how we'll remove those inefficiencies. If you knew that your publisher partner was buying your inventory for $5 and selling it for $8 or $10, wouldn't you want some of that difference? But you do know. Publishers know. But up until now, they haven't cared, or they felt powerless to do anything about it. And I'm telling you that you can. Demanding transparency in the reselling and arbitrage of your inventory is good for you, and it's good for the industry. Don't you want to work with partners that aren't stealing from you? Because that's what's happening, plain and simple. Your so-called partners are stealing your revenue, and you're letting them. You can stop it right now. You just have to want to. Work with partners that are aligned with your business goals, not ones who benefit from taking advantage of you. I've worked in this industry for 20 years, and I've seen way too many shady practices to count. So I understand why publishers feel like they have no choice. But there's another way. And as I was saying, this is what we do at Smart. We make more money when you make more money. We don't try to get away with paying you as little as possible so we can resell your inventory for as much as possible. So why wouldn't you want to work that way across your entire ad stack? So be like Ari and be like Rachel and make your demands clear to your ad tech partners. There are plenty of companies in the middle of the ad tech ecosystem that are willing to do business with you on your terms. You just have to want to. So, merci beaucoup. Thank you.